Hello students, this video is for class 6 chapter 5, that is separation of substances. So let's start it. Right, so before starting the first topic that we have, that is pure substance. To understand what is a pure substance, we have a basic idea, like anything which is not having any sort of impurity, we call it as a pure substance. But when we go for some technical aspect of it, that basically means anything which is made up of basically of only one type of substance, or like you can say only one kind of particles, then we say it is a pure substance. And basically pure substance can be further divided depending upon whether they are coming into the category of elements or molecules, right? So basically if something is either made up of elements, only one type of element, then we say it is a pure substance. Or we say if it is made up of ideal one type of molecules, then it is an then also we say it is a pure substance, right? So now you would be wondering, so elements and molecules are quite cumbersome, like you haven't have heard of it much about it. But as of now, for your level, we'll say just that if something which is having only one type of particle, we call it as a pure substance, right? Then moving on, what is a mixture? So like mixture, as far as we have to understand, it is nothing but which is anything which is having two or three substances mixed together, right? Mixture is nothing but like anything which is mixed or having more than one type of particles, you can say, for under your understanding. Like whether when we were studying about the pure substance, it basically means only one type of substance. But if you are discussing about mixture, it has more than one type of particles, we can say it is a mixture, right? There are many examples of mixture that you can see in your surrounding, right? For example, air that we breathe, it is not a pure substance because it is containing many number of gases, like you would have heard of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, helium, neon, argon. Multiple number of gases are there. And the water that is occurring in the nature, we can't say that it is completely pure, because if you're talking about seawater or the ocean water, that is basically having dissolved salt in it. And if you are looking at some pond or river water, that might be containing some sort of impurities, so we cannot consume them directly. And there are some other examples which are present in our house are like milk. If you are discussing about milk, it is an example of mixture because it contains both water and cream. Then like one more thing about mixture is, like it is not like it is having it has or should have all the components, either like should be short, it should be solid or liquid or gas. It can be either, like it can be solid, liquid, or a gaseous. And there are chances when some solids might be having some liquid, or liquids might be having some solid, right? Or liquids might be having some gas. For example, the cool drinks or the aerated drink that we have, right? The soda drink basically contains some amount of carbon dioxide in them. So that is a mixture in which we can say liquid is having gas dissolved in it, right? And basically we call the different type of ingredients, so we can say, like which are present in a mixture, are called as components. For example, if you are just adding a spoon of either of sugar or salt in a glass of water, then we can say it is a mixture which is containing salt and water, and both of these are called as the components, right? So the properties of mixture are something like it is not fixed. For example, if I'm saying ki, like a salad, for example, is there. If you go to your friend's house and there will be if you go to your like 3 to 4 friends house for some sort of dinner or lunch, or any like any time when there's a meal occurring over there, but like they're having for some meal purpose or some for some party purpose over there, then you can say like salad will be there. But you can say ki like I had salad at all my friends house, but the composition of salad will not be same. Like some might be having like salad which is rich in cucumber, some might be having more amount of onion, some might be having more amount of tomato. Altogether you are saying that you are having salad, but it is not fixed, right? Okay, now comes the next property, that is like, for example, when you are having salad, you can say like when you are having a piece, either you'll be having cucumber or you'll be having onion or will you having tomato. It's not like altogether you'll be taking everything in your mouth and feeding yourself, right? So individual items you'll be taking. So you can say like in a mixture, each ingredient retains its own properties, right? And one more thing is, like the different components are there, they can be simply separated with the help of simple methods, like evaporation method is there. If you have dissolved some amount of salt in water, so you can separate it by simply heating it, or you can say by evaporating, water will go out and only the salt residue will be left behind. And definitely cause of different items which are present, or different substances which are present in a mixture, they won't be having a fixed boiling point or a melting point. It will vary depending upon the composition of the different components. Now comes what are the type of mixtures. So we can say there are two type of mixtures. First is your homogeneous, and second one is your heterogeneous. Like the basic meaning of homogeneous, if we have to understand, homogeneous mixture basically means something which is having a uniform distribution. Means, for example, if you have if you dissolve like 1 spoon of sugar or salt in a glass of water, what will happen? You will see like after a while, when you have stirred it completely, you won't be able to distinguish between the particles of salt or sugar, and you can't differentiate basically. So there is no boundary of separation, right? For example, if you have to see bronze is a ideal, like bronze is an ideal example, right? It is basically of copper and tin, right? So, and pure air that we are breathing, right? Like when we are breathing, we can't say, like if you are sitting in an ideal room, so in that room basically air is present, and there are definitely there will be different type of gases which would be present over there. It would not be like, so in some particular corner oxygen will be there, or in some corner nitrogen will be there. It will be distributed uniformly, so you cannot differentiate. So the ideal, or the, you can say the key point that has to be remembered is like there is no point of separation or no degree of separation that is visible. Next comes heterogeneous mixture. So it's opposite to homogeneous, right? You can say that it won't be having a uniform distribution of components. For example, if you dissolve sand, for example, in a glass of water, you can clearly distinguish out the sand particles. They wouldn't be soluble. You can like physically, or you can see like with your naked eyes, it would be visible to you. So you can say it's a mixture of heterogeneous type when the boundary of separation between the different components is visible. Or you can simply, you can say like when you have added chalk in water, or you can say some cookies you would have added in some sort of milk, you can see, right? Like Bonvita and all, if you are adding. So those are example of heterogeneous mixture. Now comes like separation of substances from the mixture. So if you have to separate different substances, or you can say differentiate the different components you have to pick out separately from a mixture, there are different methods, and basically those methods that we would be using for separating out the components, they depend on the individual characteristic or properties. For example, if I'm saying like if I'm having a mixture of iron nails and sand, right, it is not possible like to pick one by one the iron nails. So for this I can use a magnet directly, and this magnet will help me if I'm holding this magnet and I'm just floating it over the mixture of sand and iron nails. The iron nails will get attached to it. So here I would have used, I have used basically the magnetic properties of the iron nails. But if a mixture of sand and you can say sort of breadcrumbs I'm using, I wouldn't be able to do that actually. Right, so it depends upon the individual characteristic or the properties of the components which are present in a mixture, which will be helping in determining that which method I have to use. So basically, why we actually are separating? So there are three reasons basically for separating. First is to maintain the pure, like to remove the impurity or harmful components which are present, which might be present in a mixture. You might wonder like. The drinking the water that might be flowing in some source, like, or which might be stored in some sort of local storage area, right, like pond or river might be there. You cannot directly consume it because of the presence of many number of impurities. It might have some sort of bacteria, harmful chemicals, or harmful ingredients, some sort of smaller sand particles that might not be visible to you. That would be so small in quantity, but they are like actually severe for your health, so you cannot consume them. So you basically need to remove all those impurities. So to get a simple idea is to remove the idea is to get the idea that we have to remove the impurities that we can remove. Next comes like to obtain the useful components. Like you all would have heard that your cars, your father's or mother's automobiles basically run on some gas and all, like basically kerosene or petroleum. So basically they are obtained from crude petroleum, that is called as kacha tel. And from there actually we use fractional distillation for separating out the individual components. So if we have to select some useful components or segregate some useful components, then also we go for this method. And sometimes it is used for basically for obtaining pure components. For example, you might be wondering, they're like iron, gold, copper, they doesn't occur in the nature in their purest form basically. So the ore is basically refined, and finally the pure components are separated. Or is something like the you can say mineral salt of different metals which are found in nature. And now comes the method of separation. So as we have discussed, like for separating the different components of a mixture, we have different methods, and those methods depend upon the individual component properties. So we might be looking at the different type of mixtures, and there are different type of methods that can be used for separating those components which are present in different type of mixtures basically. So first mixture that we have is a solid type, right, when all the components are basically solid type. So first method that comes like for a solid mixture is a hand picking, that you might have seen your mother or grandmother in your house when your father would have got the ration. Like you can see them when they are holding when they might be having some lentils which were in some utensil actually, then they will be picking out some small stones from it. So hand picking basically means haath se chugna, right? So basically for hand picking we are using the property of color, size and shape, because unwanted impurities which might be present, they would be clearly visible, then only we can separate them. And apart from that, this method can be only used when the quantities, or you can say impurities, are present in very very minor quantity, then only this method is beneficial. Next comes threshing. Then this is a diagram, the 5.5 in your book. It is you would have seen the people who are coming from the farmer family, like after the cultivation, or you can say harvesting of a crop, for example, rice is there, wheat is there, or some mustard is there. So this method is basically used for separating the grains from the stalk of the plant, right? Like it is either done manually, or some sort of with some animals help can be taken, right? Basically the manually, it means basically you'll be holding a bunch of stock and you'll be hitting them on the drums, so all the grains would be falling up. And in previous times basically animals were made to walk on the stalk, right, so that grains would fall down. Nowadays we have thresher machine. Now next comes the winnowing method, is basically for separating grains from husk, right? So this is ideal for rice and wheat actually. So there might be some sort of some amount of husk which might be present in the husk. So we put up a blower fan and we use this husk winnower method actually. And what happens basically is like in this method, with the help of wind, we segregate the components, right? So the particles which might be heavier, they'll fall down directly vertically exactly at the same point, but those particles which might be lighter, they'll be falling off a little bit away, right, because of their low weight. Now comes the next method, that is called as sieving. So sieving is something which is called basically for solid mixture. Again, one more method, it uses sieves, right? That is a structure which is having minute amount of pores in it. So this is very common, right? Like whenever you're making tea in your house, you would have seen this. And when some construction work is going on for separating the gravels from sand, this method is being used. This method can be used only when there is a difference between the size of the particles, different components, you can say, right? Then comes the last method, that is magnetic separation. So if either of the components of the mixture, they are having magnetic properties, then this method can be used directly using a magnet for picking up the magnetic substance, right? Next comes the other type of mixture, that is when we are having liquids and solid. That is, you can understand, like when solids are dissolved in liquid, right? So in this also we have two types of categories. Like there are chances that liquid solid might be completely soluble in liquid, or it might be insoluble. So our main area of focus would be the substances which are completely insoluble in liquids. So for this we have four types of method that are called as decantation, sedimentation, loading and filtration. So first we'll look at the sedimentation. So basically what will happen, like if you have a mixture of sand and water, and you just stir it and leave it for some time, right? What will happen? Actually, the particles of sand, being heavier than the particles of water, they will settle down at the bottom, right? So this in the figure number 5.9 second diagram, you can see after a while the water has come on the top, pure water, and the sand particles has settled down. So the process by which these heavier particles will settle down at the bottom, yeah, you can see the impurities will settle down at the bottom, is called as sedimentation. So this basically depends upon the weight of the particles again. Okay, now the particles which have settled down, they will be called as sediment, and the particles or the particle of the liquid which will be coming on the top, that would be pure almost, they are called as supernatant. Now decantation is nothing but the separation of the clear or liquid that we have obtained on the top. Basically after the process of sedimentation, the clear water can be separated, or it is poured basically carefully, so that the impurities or the sediments are not disturbed in that. Now comes the loading portion. Loading is basically done that what happens sometimes, like when you would have added some sort of solid in some sort of liquid which is insoluble, but the particles or the size of particles is very very small, so that you won't be able to differentiate, or you can't use that sedimentation or decantation. So what happens, basically we add alum to that. Alum is nothing but your fitacry. So fitacry will do what? It will get attached to the particles of solid and will make them heavier, so that they get settled down and the sedimentation process is followed accordingly. Now comes the last method, that is for this thing, that is when solids are dissolved in liquids and they are insoluble. We have filtration. Filtration is again simple. It's sort of similar. You can understand something similar to sieving, right? Hello students, this is the part second for chapter standard 6, sorry, chapter 5, where we were doing about separating the different components of mixture when solids are completely soluble and soluble are soluble and insoluble. So I told you previously also, here in this topic we are studying about the insoluble solids, which are basically which are found in water, right? So in the last step that we were discussing, we couldn't finish it, so here we will start with the filtration. So filtration, as I was telling to you, it is similar to the method of sieving that we have seen in solid type of mixture, right? Basically here also sieving is again using a type of porous structure. Here a fine mesh, cloth or a filter paper can be used basically for separating that this type of solid residue. And this method is only effective basically when the solid particles are of bigger size than compared to the porous or the holes which are found in the sieve, right? Basically for you can understand, it acts like a sieve only, and just hold back the particles which are of bigger size as compared to the liquid portion, right? Next comes the category of the mixtures which are basically solids and which are soluble in their solution, right? So for example, again it is something similar to the homogeneous mixture that we have seen, like a mixture of salt in water or sugar in water. So the first method that we have is evaporation. So this is a common method that we have studied in 6th standard also, like if we have to separate for example salt or sugar from water solution, right? So what we do basically, we just try to heat up the water which is containing the salt in it, right? And the water will evaporate and leaving the solid residue behind, and that is nothing but the salt. And this is the ideal method which is basically used for the extraction of salt in the coastal areas. Next comes the method of condensation. It is basically the process in which water vapor is there, right? Water can be collected back again from the liquid form. It is something similar like when we are heating the water, right, containing some sort of impurity in that. So water will start boiling, then it will start evaporating, and we can have certain type of means from which we can collect this water vapor. And due to after some time, due to the change in the temperature, when it will lower down its temperature, then we can see water can be collected further without any hesitation. And the last category that we have is separating soluble liquids from their solution. Basically, when two ideal liquids are there which are acting or forming together a homogeneous type of solution, you cannot differentiate or distinguish between them individually. Then we go for this method that is called as distillation. So in this method, basically any pure liquid can be obtained from its solution, basically, right? And this method basically depends upon the boiling point, to be more specific. Like different liquids will have different cause of their different chemical properties, will have different boiling point. So this mixture is started to heat, right? And any component or any liquid component having the lower heating point or boiling point will start to boil. It will evaporate, then the vapors of that can be collected further, and which can be allowed to further condensate, right? So basically the pure liquid which is obtained after this method, that is called as distillate.